Welcome to Level Up Your Inner Power, the podcast to help you shift your energy to live your full potential. I'm Danielle Flood.
And I'm Juliette Martine. And if you're single and would love to attract a loving, new, healthy, intimate relationship into your life, but it's just not happening, this episode is especially for you because we're going to dive into all the things that could be blocking you and how you can shift your energy to get out of your own way so you can attract the beautiful soulmate relationship your heart truly desires. I am so passionate about this topic.
Me
Danielle,
too. Me
can't
too.
tell you. Because I have had a lot of personal and professional experience in the area of dating and, really putting myself out there. I know how challenging it can be. I'm clapping my hands as I say
Yes.
that. Wanting to attract a partner into your life and when it's just not happening and you start questioning, what the heck am I doing wrong? And recently I was talking with the most gorgeous woman and she said to me, I'd love it if you guys would do an episode specifically about being single because trying to find a partner is just not working for me and I really don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm looking at everyone else and they're getting on with their lives and I'm doing everything on my own and it just feels like life is passing me by and I'm really not where I thought I'd be at this point in my life. And it can be really tough at times. And if you're in this situation, we get it. We want you to know you are not alone. And we also want to make it really clear, you don't need to have a partner to be whole or happy or to be complete. Life can be deeply fulfilling, whether you have a life partner or not. That's not the point of this episode. However, if being in a relationship is something that you really want, it's okay to say that and it's okay to want support in attracting that into your life. So as you're listening, what have been some of the more challenging aspects of being single and trying to find a partner for you? What's been your experience?
Being single comes with its own set of challenges, just like being in a relationship does. They're just simply different challenges. And let's be real, being partnered up doesn't mean someone's got everything sorted. I mean, far
not.
from it. Some things we can only work through when we're on our own, and some things only rise to the surface when we're in a relationship, whether that's with family, with friends, colleagues, or your romantic partner. But something that I hear over and over again from clients and from friends and from so many women and men in their 30s and 40s and 50s is that, they just can't seem to find someone who really meets them where they're at. And they've done the work. They've built a life that they're proud of. They're happy within themselves and they'd really love to share that life with someone. But the people that are showing up aren't meeting them with the same level of maturity or the same values or just that same readiness, right? And they don't want to settle. And you know what? They shouldn't have to.
Yeah, and it can be so frustrating.
Absolutely. And, when that stuff keeps on happening, it's so easy to slip into that story of maybe there aren't any available, aligned, high-quality men or women out there. And, that thought alone can quietly shut down your energy. And once you start believing there's not enough, that can really impact on what you attract.
That feeling of lack really brings down our power to manifest the things that we want. And I have to say, when it comes to dating, it's a very different ballgame now to what it used to be. The playing field has completely changed. Gone are the days where you used to go to a bar or a nightclub to meet someone and get a feeling of what the other person is like first before you decide whether or not to interact with them. We're now meeting people in digital spaces using apps. I met my fiance on Tinder and I know what that arena can be like. And I found that for some people using dating apps, we somehow seem to forget that we're actually dealing with human people on the other side with real feelings who are very vulnerable, putting themselves out there to take the next step to meet someone, and particularly for women, but also very much for men. I want to give a shout out to all the men that are wanting to meet people. It can bring with it a whole variety of insecurities and fears for men as much as it can for women.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say, Danielle, in my own journey with dating apps, I often found that people didn't take the same level of care as they would do if they were meeting me in person at a cafe or a bar or wherever it is, especially when it comes to first impressions. I have to laugh, but I can't tell you, I literally can't tell you because I've lost count, the number of men I swiped past on dating apps whose profiles had photos of them wearing dark sunglasses so I couldn't see their eyes, right?
Yeah.
What does the energy of that communicate to me? You know, what is this person trying to hide? Or they're standing in front of a mirror in the bathroom. You know, to me, that communicated instantly that they don't have any friends in their life or family members that could take a photo of them. Or great photos standing in front of your bedroom mirror with a bed behind you with a whole lot of trash all over the bed. And
oh, yeah. I've seen a few of them on my friends' profiles when they've been swiping the wrong way.
First impressions had said to me, you know, I can't be bothered to tidy up, or a guy leaning against a motorbike, which would be really attractive to me if I happen to be a bikie or I'm specifically after a guy that has a bike, but I wasn't, so that didn't appeal to me. Or the best photo I saw was, and I saw this multiple times, guys wearing a jacket. They're standing in a fitting room, a changing room, wearing a jacket with the label still on, hanging underneath the arm that's holding the phone, taking a selfie. I mean, what are our photos communicating about us, about our life, our values, our interests, and most importantly, the effort that we'd actually make if we were genuinely interested in meeting someone and being their partner?
Yeah, totally.
Or sometimes I'll be working with a client around manifesting a soulmate, and they'll show me their dating profile and it'll have only 1 or 2 words on their profile. And what is that saying about our communication skills, about our willingness to be vulnerable, to be honest, to be transparent? How am I supposed to get any sense of someone and who they are and what they want in life, and to know whether or not I'm actually compatible with them and want to swipe to meet up with them, if they're not willing to share anything about themselves with me in the first place? It means I actually have to rely 100% on their photos and their appearance. And then what's that saying about me? I'm only interested in someone who looks good on the outside. So dating apps can really make a mosh of it. And I also get it. I get how risky it can feel putting yourself out there. But when we're hiding and trying to keep ourselves invisible on an unconscious level, we make it really difficult for the other person to get to know us. And if we're not willing to open up and reveal more about who we are and what we want, we're putting a whole lot of barriers in place that make manifesting a partner way more difficult than it needs to be. And also, one of the challenges I found, and I do hear a lot of people get very overwhelmed with this, is the amount of time and energy that can be consumed by dating apps, because it's not like, I go to a nightclub or a bar or a cafe to meet someone once a week. These devices with the apps on them are in our hand 24/7. And so we can end up losing hours and days scrolling and swiping through apps just to make sense of who's worth engaging with and who's not. And that brings with it a whole other level of app fatigue that can really turn us off the whole dating scene. And then, one of the things I hear people complain about is ghosting.
Oh, I was having a conversation with someone at work today about this whole topic of ghosting and how she'd been chatting with this guy for a whole week and a half, and then poof, all of a sudden disappears.
Gone.
And then he's unmatched her or whatever. I'm not an app girl. I met my husband in a nightclub. I used to go up to men and say, I've got a feeling that you want to kiss me right now. But, gone are those days.
Not at all forward. She's such a shy, retiring petal, our Danielle.
Well, it's all about putting yourself out there, right? I don't think I would survive in the dating world on apps. I'm such a people person. And so sorry, I digress. But when I was having a chat with this girl at work and she was telling me about the whole ghosting thing, I'm like, oh my gosh, I just don't know how I would cope with that.
Yeah, you finally put yourself out there and you end up getting ghosted by someone. They suddenly disappear, they don't reply to your messages, and that can be so difficult not to take it personally.
Yeah, totally. Yes.
Sometimes going on a dating app can be like walking into a candy store in ways that, without realizing it, we end up treating people like disposable commodities without being mindful and cognizant of the impact our actions might be having on the other people that we're interacting with.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when we talked about putting this episode together, Juliet, we talked about the age and how age can be a huge challenge as well when it comes to how confident we feel about putting ourselves out there. And it really does depend on what season of life you're in, right? So for a lot of women and men in their 30s and 40s, there could be this quiet pressure sitting underneath everything, especially if having children is something that you deeply want. Like you're trying to genuinely get to know someone without rushing, but at the same time, you don't want to waste months or years with the wrong person.
Yeah, so that's very real. We really want to acknowledge that.
Absolutely. And then, so you might find yourself bringing up that kids conversation much sooner than you would ever thought you would, simply because life feels a little bit more time sensitive than what it did in your 20s. And then if you're dating in your 30s and 40s, then that can come with its own real life complexities, like navigating someone else's children, because, some people will have children by then, or I see it with a few of my friends that co-parenting dynamic or the blended family possibilities that you might not have pictured for yourself years ago. And then when you move into the 50s and your 60s, your confidence can be impacted in such a different way.
I have to say one thing, when you move into the next age category, man, that can be so frigging confronting. Like, hands up if you're in a higher age bracket, shall we call it, and you're tempted.
My hands are up.
You're tempted to, downplay your age and just slide under the radar in the lower age bracket. Man, it's confronting.
Absolutely. I mean, it's confronting, and I'm married, but it would be so much more confronting if I was single and trying to attract a partner in my life, because when you move into your 50s and 60s, your confidence changes because your body changes, your looks change, and we can really start questioning whether anyone is even going to find us attractive anymore. Like, it's a very human fear, and it's one many people carry. And if you've been trying to attract a partner for a while and it feels like nothing is shifting, well, that's when the heaviness can really sneak in, that feeling of maybe it's just not going to happen for me. It's that hopelessness that's quietly affecting you even without you even realizing it.
Yeah, that can really bring in a heaviness like, maybe it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, totally.
And I have experienced that myself, and it's really hard to dig yourself out of that energy. But from a manifestation perspective, that's what causes our energy to drop and create all sorts of patterns of interference that can really block us from attracting someone into our life, because we're moving into that lack and scarcity.
Yeah, totally.
And as with all manifesting, whether we're manifesting a partner in our life or anything else for that matter, when it comes to identifying what might be blocking us from attracting that into our life, the most powerful thing we can do to activate our inner power is to lean into what's going on underneath, so we can clear our internal blocks and be in the energy of limitlessness and joy in manifesting a partner, rather than those lower vibrational frequencies of our fears and doubts. And the easiest way I find to do this, Danielle, is, and we do it throughout these episodes, is to lean into our heart space and to ask ourselves questions. So as you're listening, here are some questions you might like to lean into for yourself. So first of all, it would be, what's my unresolved stuff that I'm holding on to? And that can be a big question. What are the hurts or wounds I've not healed yet that might be affecting the energy I'm giving out? Because if we haven't healed, it will be changing the vibrational frequency that we're giving out. And, if we're on the dating scene 3 weeks after our relationship has ended, it might be a good idea to just take some time out to look at what it is we need to heal. So we can come from a place of awareness and wholeness before we enter into our next relationship, rather than, that fear of being on our own causing us to panic and quick get out there. Or, sometimes friends will give us sage advice, get back on the horse. And it's like, please don't. Please heal your stuff before you project that onto the next relationship.
Yeah, for sure.
Even things that we've experienced several years ago, if we've got unresolved hurt because maybe there was a breach of trust in a previous relationship, now would be a great time to do that inner work to clear out our internal house so we can step forward from a place of trust within ourselves. And whether it be insecurities or jealousies, whatever's coming up for you, lack of self-worth, lack of trust, difficulty letting go of a previous lover, especially if you didn't want the relationship to end. And, we're talking about all age groups, so we can be talking about a short-term relationship that breaks up, a long-term relationship that breaks up, a marriage that, going through divorce. These can all be negatively affecting our vibrational frequency and holding us back from attracting a loving relationship into our life. So it really pays to feel into where's my unresolved hurts and wounds.
It's so true. And that resonated with me because I remember when I came out of my relationship before I met Nick, and I wasn't fully healed from that relationship because it was not a healthy relationship. And I met this amazing man in Nick and, 6 months in, I really started to question him. Like I started to question him as a person, and that actually wasn't him. That was my stuff because I hadn't done all of my healing first. So it's really important to, first of all, ask yourself what's unresolved within you and what you're holding on to, because we carry it into all of the relationships moving forward unless we heal ourselves and really become aware of it. So it's a really important question to ask. And to follow that one, the second question you can ask to get to what's going on underneath it is ask yourself, what fears am I holding on to? When we carry fears, self-doubts, or limiting beliefs, they really do impact us and block us from attracting all the things we want in our life, especially when it comes to relationships. And as you're listening, have a think about what fears are coming up for you. And maybe there's a fear that you're unworthy or that you're not good enough, or fears around ending up on your own when everyone else seems to be moving on with their life, or perhaps fears around intimacy issues and being really vulnerable. Or it could be fears around losing your independence and career focus, especially if you've been single for a while. If we have any fears, I can tell you they follow you wherever you go until they are resolved and healed, and I've lived it. And I see this a lot, right? People think they're trying to attract a partner, but in reality, they're playing it safe, right? So you can say you want a relationship. You can believe you're ready. You can even be doing all the right things, but underneath it all, you might be running a silent do not disturb sign without even realizing it. It's that quiet self-protection mode that keeps you small. It keeps you hidden and it keeps you safe. But you know what else it does? It keeps you single. And maybe you're scared of being hurt or rejected or judged. So you barely share anything real on your dating profile, as you were saying before, Juliet. And maybe you don't follow through on messages or opportunities. Maybe you wait for the other person to do all the initiating, so you never have to risk being the one who gets rejected first.
I've got a friend that's doing that right now. Yep.
Yeah.
It's very real.
Yep. It's
very human.
It's very human. Or maybe you even disappear on people. And it's not because you're rude, but because it's easier to vanish than to feel unsafe in being fully seen in case the other person realizes you're not good enough or doesn't want to be with you. All that stuff, all of it blocks connection, not because you're doing anything wrong, but because deep down you don't fully trust that you'll be okay if it doesn't work.
So many people that I coach are wearing an invisibility cloak.
Oh, yes. I'm familiar with that. Yes.
And it's so strong, the energy of it. Like, yeah, I'm out there. I really want to find a partner. but no one is seeing them. I mean, it's not to say they don't get swipes or likes or whatever, but their energy is not connecting because deep down they actually don't want to be seen because there's those fears there that are blocking it.
Yeah.
And another factor that can block us in attracting a partner are our patterns, those recurring patterns in our life where we find, maybe the faces of the actors change, but the same storylines keep playing out.
I like that.
on the stage of our life. And if you notice you keep dating people who carry the same issues or you keep repeating the same patterns in your relationships, it really helps to ask a question for yourself. What is this reflecting about my own energy and the stories that I'm telling myself? What do I need to shift within myself to attract a more healthy, enlivening, intimate relationship?
Yeah.
Again, leaning in and asking ourselves these questions. Do I keep choosing partners who are needy or avoidant or emotionally unavailable or people who always seem to need fixing? They've always got drama going on in their life that they need to be rescued from. Or people who are demanding and controlling, and to start with, they're really charming and then the grip starts to tighten. Or maybe people who are treating us with a lack of respect, who are maybe have anger issues or are even abusive. Or, maybe the pattern that's showing up in your life is you're attracting people that refuse to take responsibility. Or maybe there's patterns of unresolved trauma and addictions. Partners can really reflect our own lack of self-worth, our intimacy issues with ourselves in terms of not feeling safe being vulnerable, our lack of self-love, our insecurities and anxieties, our unresolved family issues, and the ways in which we ourselves don't feel good enough and go into that scarcity mindset. And all of these things will interfere with your attracting a healthy, loving soulmate relationship into your life. So it's so important that we're courageous and we're honest with ourselves to lean into these questions and what's going on internally underneath for us.
Yeah, absolutely, Juliet. And let's not forget about the classic checklist.
Oh,
that long list of expectations we carry, either because we want everything wrapped up perfectly and delivered to us like some kind of ideal partner package, please.
I'd like one of those.
I'll have 3. Or because, we have it because we've been shut down so many times that we create a checklist so long, it basically becomes a brick wall around our heart. And while it feels like protection, it actually just completely shuts out connection. Even the connection with good ones, even the people who are capable, who are growing, or who might genuinely be ready for you. And when that checklist becomes like a huge brick wall, it will absolutely keep the wrong people out, but it will also keep out the right ones before they've even had a chance, because they can't climb that wall. They can't get in. You are not letting these people in.
Sometimes people can have a checklist that's like a long scroll that just, unwinds and rolls down the street. It's so long with all these boxes that need to be checked. And I was having a conversation with my partner, Arno, about this recently, and how men can actually feel caught in a pressure cooker when the checklist is so long, expecting to be strong and sensitive and successful, but also vulnerable enough to connect deeply. And he was saying that when men sense judgment or a checklist of high demands in this way, it can really cause them to instinctively shut down and pull back, which I totally get.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
Especially if you've been single for quite a while. It can feel difficult to be willing to compromise on things. I get that, but it makes it very difficult for us to accept people where they're at and as they are, because ultimately nobody's perfect. I'd like to be able to order the perfect box from Amazon and have it delivered to my front doorstep, but I don't think that's doable because people are real. We're all real.
We're real and we're imperfectly perfect, right? And there's no perfect person for any of us, and it's just about learning to compromise and work and support each other, right? That's what relationships are about. That's how I've navigated through my marriage, and it seems to be working out fine. One other factor I think we need to talk about is that desperation. When you think about your ability to meet a partner and you go into that desperation mode. And I just would like you to take a moment and ask yourself, how desperate am I feeling around finding a partner? You know, when we hit that point where we're so ready for a relationship that it turns into urgency, what's actually underneath it is fear. You know, fear that the clock is ticking and we're running out of time, or fear of being alone, or that fear that maybe it just won't happen for us. But that desperate energy doesn't pull love closer. It comes from a place of not trusting that we're going to be okay. And when we're in that space, the energy of our desperation can smother the energy of our real desires before they even have a chance to take shape. So today, we want to share with you 7 practical tips to help you clear some of these internal blocks, to make the whole process of calling in your partner feel lighter, easier, and way more enjoyable. And to make it even easier, because you know, we really want to help you attract the love in your life you desire and that you deserve. We're going to put all the tips into a PDF you can download right now using the link in the show notes, wherever you're listening to this podcast. So you've got something you can come back to anytime you feel yourself getting stuck or slipping into old patterns. And these are 7 real doable shifts that will help you lift your energy and open yourself up to a healthy, loving relationship you're truly ready for. So let's go, Juliet.
All right. First tip.
Yes.
It's all about standing in your wholeness, doing the inner work to heal your stuff, clear your old stories, heal your hurts, build self-worth that is so strong that you're no longer chasing a relationship, you're actually attracting it. And the thing is, when we look to the other person to complete us, we can attract someone who's really reflecting back to us our own sense of lack. But when we move beyond our fears and our doubts and our limiting beliefs and we feel truly whole within ourselves, we naturally attract people who meet us at that level of wholeness. And ultimately, that's what we're wanting for you. So as you're listening, affirm your wholeness, affirm I am already whole and complete, and really meet and embrace those parts of you that don't feel whole yet with a beautiful, loving honesty, compassion, and acceptance. And recognize that in feeling more whole within yourself, it won't decrease your desire for a partner, because sometimes people get frightened. Well, if I feel whole, I'm not going to need anyone. It's not going to decrease that desire for a partner. It's actually going to elevate your energy in ways that the people you attract are genuinely ready and aligned and capable of meeting you at that place of wholeness. So whatever support you need to do the inner work, whether it's using a journal, working with a therapist or an energy healer, or enrolling in a program, invest in yourself, because when you do, you're going to create a beautiful, strong foundation of wholeness on which everything else is built. And that's one of the best things you can take into your manifesting when it comes to attracting a partner into your life.
Yes. And the second tip is to set a strong, clear intent. Get really clear in what you want within a relationship in terms of the way you want to be feeling in it, rather than creating that endless checklist of how you want everything to look. Set a strong, clear intent in terms of this is who I am. This is how I want to be feeling in a relationship. This is what I want to be experiencing within the relationship, rather than having a checklist of this is who the other person needs to be, where they've got to come from, what they need to be doing, what they need to be earning. No, that's not what you want. You don't want that checklist. You really want to come from a place of real strong intent in terms of who you are and what you want to be feeling. And at the end of the day, it's about you and what you do and don't believe is possible for you. Put it out there. put out what you want to be experiencing while allowing some room for humanness, because no one is perfect. And realize that the relationship isn't an end itself. It's a vehicle for growth. So be open to growing through relationships and allow room for the other person to be perfectly imperfect in their growing as well.
So important.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'd say our third tip is to be the change. If we want someone grounded, we need to be grounded ourselves. If we want someone emotionally intelligent, we need to work on our own emotional intelligence. If we want someone incredible, then, where are we showing up as being incredible in our own life? Because we attract from who we're being, not from who we hope to become. So be the change you want to see. Look at, the kind of relationship you want to be in and step into that energy yourself so that you're a match for the type of person you want to attract. And then from that place, open yourself up to the possibilities. Otherwise, you're going to be looking to someone else to do that for you. And that's going to sabotage your manifesting because you're going to feel like a bit of a fraud and not really deserving the things that you're asking for. So be the person, be the energy that you want to be experiencing coming back into your life.
Yes. And our fourth tip is to show up fully. Like really show up fully. Be courageous. Put yourself out there. Update your profile. Initiate a conversation. Own what you want, because it's that certainty of claiming who you are and what you want that attracts. So play full out in the way that you show up for yourself. And if that feels difficult, just start with the small steps that help you feel safe internally, while remembering that every contact point is like a date. That first impression you offer through your profile, the first message or the first communication you have, the way you respond to the other person, your willingness to share with openness rather than holding back from an energy of fear. And a big one for me is treat other people the way you yourself would like to be treated. Don't be tight on your words or willingness to show up. Be polite and respectful and caring about the other person, even if it's not someone you know. Just be a force for good, someone who elevates the energy in the dating apps, and write your profile not so much as something to attract a man or a woman, but write it as a declaration. This is who I am. This is what I want. This is how I'd love to be feeling in a relationship, and bring it on. I am absolutely ready for it. And if no one responds for a day, a week, a month, that's okay. How many people are you looking to date? I mean, I'd hope it's just one.
We just want to find, the person that's the right vibrational match with us. And I love the way that you were saying those declarations effectively to the universe, which brings us to tip number 5. They kind of go hand in hand, which is to have total certainty and knowing beyond logic. Declare it to the universe with absolute certainty that if you're feeling this heartfelt desire to be in a relationship, then it means your soul has a plan to make it happen. Your soul has planted that seed of desire in your heart. It knows how it's going to make it happen. You might not know the details of the how or the when, but without a doubt, see yourself being in your relationship and feeling all the feelings you've identified that you want to feel, that you've set in your intent, and really feel it happening in the now, because the now is where things manifest. So don't worry about the past. Don't worry about the future. Be in the now and really know with absolute certainty that you're able to collapse time and space, be fully in the knowing that you are in a wonderful new relationship. It's already in process. It's already happening. Even if it hasn't happened just yet, it hasn't shown up just yet, it's already in the process of coming into your life, and maintain your vibrational frequency at that level. And live your life now, not in the future when someone arrives, but right now the right person is meeting you in your power. And it's happening. Have that absolute certainty, without a doubt.
Tip number 6 is to create clear boundaries and give yourself permission to create boundaries that actually support you. Boundaries around your time, so you're not constantly stretched or overwhelmed. boundaries around your energy. So you're clear on what you are and absolutely not available to give. And boundaries around the pace that it moves so that you have a healthy amount of time to genuinely get to know someone before you decide if it's right or not for you. Set clear boundaries. And that is all about honoring yourself. By setting the boundaries, you are honoring yourself.
And have clear boundaries with the universe in terms of what you will and won't accept. That's part of that absolute certainty and knowing. And so our final tip, and it's a really important one, it kind of wraps around all of the other tips, is for you to practice resilience.
Yeah, I think this is like the best tip.
See the whole manifestation process and the whole dating process as a beautiful, moving meditation of resilience. If someone ghosts you, don't take it personally. Let that be the gift that it actually is. They're simply showing you their avoidant patterns up front, and life is simply clearing the path for you. But don't, on the same hand, don't assume that someone's ghosting you just because they haven't replied to your first message. So don't overthink things, don't overanalyze, don't chase. Take that energy, bring it back to you, feel grounded and whole and genuinely enjoying your own life. And silence, if there's silence, it doesn't mean rejection. If someone hasn't replied, there could be 100 completely understandable reasons for it. People have emergencies, people get overwhelmed, people forget, messages slip through without being seen, and life happens. So, accept that we're all human. It's part of the resilience. And if you feel there's potential there, give the other person another chance, maybe even a second or a third chance. And then leave it after that. That's part of your boundaries, Trusting that if that person is meant for you, they'll come back to you. And if they're not, then someone even better is waiting for you. And they're about to show up just around the corner again, having that certainty beyond logic. While being resilient in holding to your strong, clear intent with that knowing that not only is your desire to meet a partner possible, it's already in motion, and then hand it over to spirit, your soul, the universe, to make it happen. You don't need to control the process. This is part of your resilience. Your job is simply to maintain your vibrational frequency at that level of absolute heartfelt knowing and certainty.
I think that's a wrap. Those 7 practical tips are really going to provide you with some guidance and support, and they're really doable, actionable tips that you can take forward into your life. And we really hope this conversation has given you some relief or some clarity, or maybe even a few, that's where I've been getting in my own way moments. Because the truth is, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not behind, and you're definitely not alone. These patterns are human, and they're also very shiftable, and you have the power to shift them. And don't forget to download these 7 tips from the show notes wherever you're listening to this podcast, so you can take action to clear your blocks, release the pressure, and bring your energy back to a place where real connection can actually land. Use the tips and come back to them whenever you feel yourself getting discouraged or slipping into old habits, to remind yourself of what's possible.
Thank you so much for being here with us, for doing the inner work. We adore this community, and please hit the share button to share this episode with all of your beautiful friends who would love to be attracting more love into their life. And while you're there, hit the follow button so you don't miss an episode and you receive helpful tips in the future. Until next time, keep backing yourself, keep opening your beautiful heart, and keep trusting that what's meant for you is already on its way to you. Bye for now.